Sagittarius. My name is Echo, and thank you for joining me for your May 2025 tarot reading. Before we begin, I just want to let you know that we did just celebrate Beltane, wishing you a very happy Beltane. And we do have a lot of planets moving through the sign of Aries right now, so be sure to check your chart and see what's going on there. Be sure to look at your ascendant sign as well for these tarot readings to find a more clear and accurate reading for what May is going to look like. So without further ado, let's go ahead and continue and see what we have in store for you this month. Starting you off, you have the Beaver Spirit, lay a solid foundation. So before we can create anything, we need to have a solid foundation to begin on, right? Any castle wouldn't be built on the sand. You do want to build castles on solid ground because castles get very big, very heavy with stone, for example. Anything you're looking to build does need a solid foundation, and this may not just be structures. It could be life structures, such as relationships or new jobs, or creative projects even. So if you are working on something that really matters to you, be sure you're laying a solid foundation so you have good ground to stand on. And I recently listened to a book that talks about Adlerian psychology and talking about Adler, the philosopher. It gives the dialogue of a philosopher and a student talking. It does say that you may not be doing your job, your typical 9 to 5, in a way that you're very passionate about, okay? It may not be your rock star dream, but it has to be something you at least like, something you can see yourself enjoying doing for a long period of time. And if it's not, feel free to leave it. But this allows you to pay for the things like the bills, right? Because we all got to pay the bills, the gas and what have you, the rent. So you can create in a place of like true creation and passion and not worry about all those things when you sit down to create what you are passionate about, okay? And I really went rounds with this with previous workspaces. I love working in the service industry. I have for many years, but I was in a place that was toxic because I didn't know I was being put in there by my superiors, and it interrupted a click. And it just, the day-to-day didn't work for me, right? Not even if the click wasn't present, I wasn't enjoying the work I was doing in that particular place. I hope that makes sense. So find something that does work for you to be the solid foundation, something you can see yourself doing sustainably to, take care of all the boring stuff. So when it's time to sit down and create that which you're passionate about, you don't have to worry about the other. You can come with that much more spark. And I'm seeing almost like a blacksmith's hammer crashing down on the metal as it hits the anvil and the sparks that come off of it. So let's continue with this reading and see what we have for you. Got some flippers going. Let's fix that. All right, and next you have transmute, okay? So we were just talking about the blacksmith's hammer, right? Because he takes those metals, he smelts them and hammers them away and shapes them into the weapons, into the tools that are needed on the day-to-day, maybe even armor. So you are the blacksmith and you are transmuting that energy in a way that will serve you. And you notice we have this bee spirit sitting here on this card. Bees are known to spread flowers from all the pollination. They're actually key to our survival. And you're going to start seeing things, I feel, with what's going on astrologically over the course of not just this month, but moving forward, more into talking about nature, the preservation of, what gives back. And this could be bees. So you might start seeing that pop up somewhere in the news, in the media, maybe even in social circles. Someone just casually, oh, hey, did you, hear about those bees? I know a couple years back I had sweat bees sitting on my house and everyone was afraid of them, but they're actually harmless. They fly for long periods of time. And then when they need rest, they'll sit and they'll hang out for about, 24 hours to kind of rest their wings, and then they continue on. And so if you live near a water source and you see a lot of sweat bees, don't panic. They will move on. But let's continue with this reading and see what else we have. Next, you have Yira. Oh, look, a bee. Yira is the rune of harvest and new year and new beginning. Talks about the cycles. So what you plant, you will reap the harvest. And this is a big part of transmuting, a big part of laying that solid foundation so you can come to a place of creation. I feel almost like you are pollinating your life like the bee does, so these flowers can grow. And this has you gathering from different resources. Maybe you're gathering information, you're tapping into finances. What can you stop paying on, like subscriptions and fees and whatnot, because it can nickel and dime you to death. And where can you draw money? You may be focusing on things like side hustles, just extra things to bring in money, right? Maybe you do like DoorDash or something. But Yera does say that you are moving forward into a progressive year. You are going to start reaping the harvest of that which you sow. So if you're not seeing that just yet, don't panic. It is on its way. May is going to be a transformation, transmuting time for you, where you're putting things out there to see what you get back. I'm seeing somebody fishing. I don't know where that came from. I've been fishing in forever. So if you're going fishing, I don't know. Maybe that'll be a good thinking spot for you. But let's continue this reading and see what else you have going on. All right, next you have the High Priest. Then you have the Hermit. Let's go ahead and draw these three. And the Moon. Okay, so you're doing some serious introspection at this time. So the High Priest talks about a rite of passage, turning your knowledge into wisdom. This is how the student becomes the practitioner or apprentice and turns into the teacher, all right? The individual in this card is sitting beneath these two pillars with them behind him, and they are the pillars of creation. They are solid foundations, like we're just talking about. And you can almost picture him sitting in this temple where somebody would come to him for great wisdom, this high priest. The keys in front of him are talking about the keys of power, the keys to self, the keys to the universe. You are able to unlock great things in the dark when you can't see the way forward. The moon and nighttime are talking about magic, wisdom, and mysticism. And then in the sun, you are able to unlock great joys for everyone else, including yourself. And you have no problem showing who you are, getting out there in the open, and just being yourself. So you have the keys of power to walk in the dark or walk in the light as you so see fit, right? As you choose. You have the keys of power to unlock your own abilities. So you may start discovering new abilities in yourself that you didn't notice before. Next, you have the Hermit. The Hermit is the person who goes inward. We're talking about the Hermit going into the cave. You've heard about those great Zen masters who go into the cave and they meditate on things for many years, and they come out and share their wisdom with the world. And they're these great knowledgeable teachers, right? There's that, working from student into teacher. But the point of this card is that you can't stay in the cave. You have to come out and shine your light for others to see. We were talking about the dark and the light. So you are going to find new wisdom and turn that knowledge into wisdom, like we discussed. You are going to find that these everyday things you kind of took for granted are actual, like, pearls of wisdom. They are nuggets that you're going to share with somebody who is, now I'm hungry, that you're absolutely going to share with someone, and they're going to be, wow, I never really thought of it that way. And to you, it might seem like a very commonplace, common sense sort of thing that you convey. It could just be in how they approach their day to day. But to them, it's going to be like a very real truth. And you're going to have these very real truths that not only will you show to other people, you're going to discover them in yourself and for yourself. Okay. So I love that card. That's a good one to have. Next, you have the Moon. Okay, here we are again. She has those keys, which are talking about the keys to unlock new doors in life, unlock the keys to self, the keys that unlock the mystery and the mysticism. The Moon card is about rewilding yourself alongside the dormant, everyday, what's the word I'm looking for? Domesticated life that we have to live. We were talking about doing that job, the 9 to 5, that you're maybe not 100%, your dream job, but it does allow you to take care of all the things. So when you do sit down to create and do that, what you're passionate about, you can do it with your whole heart, your whole mind, totally focused and in the flow. And I can tell you that the outcome of being in that space is amazing, because I do sculpting, I do painting, I do all kinds of things outside of my spiritual work. And this is where I can relax. This is where I get new ideas. I can let things down, and it really opens doors for me. So you're going to step into that. And I just realized this, okay? I do shuffle these cards between every drop, and I'm going to try to get better to pull that out in front of camera so you guys can see. I have a habit of shuffling close to my body because, I drop stuff. But every one of the figures in these cards has their hand raised up holding something. He is holding up the 2 fingers, the sign of the divine promise, not only to himself and his duties and his own personal growth, but the promise that the divine will always be there. The individual here, the hermit, has his lantern raised, shining his light out into the world because spirit has given him that light through his meditation. And the moon also has a torch lighting the path to rewilding herself and shine a light in dark places. So everybody has their hand up in one way or another for another reason or another. And they're all combinations of yourself and the divine, because we all have part of the divine with us, right? This is a part of who we are. So let's just continue this reading. This is powerful stuff. I want to see what blessings. No, let's not do. But what do you maybe not see coming in the month of May? So my Sagittarius maybe not see coming. You have the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles is a calm, steady, moving knight. You notice he's got this deer in the background. If he was charging through the field, that deer would hear him coming a mile away and would be long gone. Okay, they spook very easily. But he is moving with this pentacle at almost like a trot. Like the horse isn't even moving. He's not even walking. He's just standing, okay? Which tells me he just kind of stopped. But if you look on the horse's blanket sitting around him, he has this deer, this same deer that's in the background. So it says that you are taking in the symbols, the signs, and the messages and the wisdom around you and making it your own and wearing it as a part of yourself. And that's great because that is how personal growth is supposed to work, right? The Pentacles is all about things we can touch, things we can see. So this may be that you're going to be getting an unexpected either finance or I'm hearing opportunity that you weren't expecting in the month of May. But if you go through very peacefully, it's not going to like, oh my gosh, wow, in your face. It's going to come in a way that's very subtle. So if you're listening with your ear to the ground, those answers and those messages will come to you as needed. Now let's see, and I said I would shuffle in front of the camera. What blessings do you have for my Sagittarius this month? You have the Justice card. Justice card is all about readdressing the balance, taking that which is right and that which is fair, getting your just rewards. In this case, we are talking about balance, right? We are talking about blessings. So she is talking about having the sword to cut through the you-know-what and readdressing the scales for, a more even balance. This may also be an indicator of something like a court proceeding or a lawsuit. So if something does come about that you've been working on and the delivery of whatever the verdict, the solution, the agreement, what have you it is going to be fair. It is going to be even. And it is going to be, I don't want to say in your favor because it will be fair and even, but it's not going to be something where you feel like you got the raw end of the deal. You're going to be taken care of, okay? So you are going to be blessed with a fairness, not just in the way you appreciate life, but the way life and individuals and situations are treating you during the month of May. What advice do you have for my Sagittarius in the month of May? What advice? We'll do a quick shuffle here. You have the Knight of Wands in reverse. Now, the Knight of Wands upright is the guy who's willing to charge in, and get some. He can indicate literally, an individual who's just trying to hook up, if you know what I mean. But in reverse, this says that your advice is to focus on what you can create for yourself at this time, because that is what's going to allow you to create for others. Wands are all about fire, passionate, creative energy. Be sure that the passion you're putting into other things and other people, you're delivering to yourself first, okay? Because this is where you're going to be able to lay a solid foundation and create from. I've heard it before. You may have heard, fake it till you make it. I can tell you that going through life that way 100%, you're not going to fool anyone, okay? Eventually, someone is going to catch on to you and see you for not knowing what you're doing fresh out the gate. And they may be someone who calls you on it. Those are always good people to have, unless, of course, they're a jerk. But if you are being genuine and putting in to what you're doing with a genuine passion and creativity, people are going to see that too. So be sure you're going forward in a very genuine way and giving to yourself a little bit of self-love, creating with passion, and focusing on things that you really care about just as much as you focus on that boring old 9-to-5 we all have to do. And it may not be boring. You may enjoy your work, right? It's just not the rock star job. So let's go ahead and continue with this reading, and we'll close out with a rune. I do these at random. We're not peeking. What is this? We'll take this one. right? And the rune you have here is Thehu. Thehu literally points to cattle or worth or monetary value, right? Because in Viking times, that is what they equated things to. Do you have the livestock to look after you? Do you have the resources, the solid foundation? And what can you create from there? We're talking about that transmutation. And maybe that's why the blacksmith was coming up here. I don't know. So you are going to see your own worth, and you're going to demand that other people treat you with that worth. And I feel like with this justice card, they will. And from there, you're going to say, okay, I'm worth this. This is what I can have because I'm taking care of the basics, and now I'm ready to move forward and claim more. So this is a beautiful reading for you, my Sagittarius. I do appreciate you joining me. I'm wishing you a very happy May. My name is Echo, and I'll see you next time.